Well, let's get more on this now with Dan Raviv. He's a contributor at Moment magazine and joins us from Washington, D.C. Dan, it's always good to speak to you on TRT World. Now, Trump is facing federal and state charges, but some commentators are asking the question, could these charges actually backfire as Trump uses them and his claims of being victimized to really galvanize his supporters? And it's something that his supporters are quite loving right now, that he is a man who is a victim of a Justice Department that's being weaponized by his critics.
Well, of course, Yashini, that's a political question. And the claim by the prosecutors, whether in Atlanta, Georgia, where John Brain was reporting, or other cases in Washington, D.C. and in New York, the claim by prosecutors is they're not political. They are just pursuing the evidence. But still, there are big suspicions, and you see it in public opinion polls here in the United States, that Democrats, including the White House run by Joe Biden, wanted to see this picture of Donald Trump looking like a criminal, looking angry, saying that he did nothing wrong. In Atlanta, he did speak to reporters and said that he was quite entitled to have his opinion that there was cheating in the 2020 election, and he was just speaking out about a fraudulent election. So there's a divide, of course. Some Americans are angry at the prosecutors, whereas other Americans who have never liked Donald Trump are really glad that he's in deep trouble, Yashidi.
Well, he talks about being able to voice his opinion, which of course is a right in America, freedom of speech, the First Amendment. But there's a difference between voicing your opinion and then taking action to try and overturn the election results, which is what Georgia's prosecutor is saying. And could that be something that it looks likely at this stage that Trump is going to be the next Republican presidential candidate? He'll be up against Biden. He has his supporters, Biden has his, but then you've got millions of undecided voters. This may not hold him in good stead among those people who don't know who they're going to cast their ballot for next year.
Yeah, Shini, there is so much for voters to consider. For instance, is the American economy strong right now? President Joe Biden has been making appearances across the country saying the economy is very good, whereas Donald Trump, when he makes a campaign appearance, he describes America's economy as being in shambles and America's image is terrible around the world and we're in danger. So what do the American people think? Actually, public opinion polls indicate that most Americans are feeling the effect of high prices. They don't like inflation. Of course, they blame the current Biden government for that. And so the Republicans, even if led by alleged criminal Donald Trump, the Republicans really do have a chance in next year's election. Joe Biden, his age is also a factor. He's already 80 years old. There's a lot for voters to consider.
It certainly is, and we've still got more than a year before that election is set to take place. But hypothetically, if Trump did become president and he was convicted on any of these four charges, could he simply just pardon himself?
Not in the case of the Atlanta, Georgia allegations of a fraudulent conspiracy. 19 people have been charged, and this week 19 people showed up in court and were photographed for a mugshot. Also, the humiliation of having their height and weight put into the public record. It says here that Donald Trump weighs 215 pounds, which is 97 and a half kilos. A lot of people say, that's funny. I think he weighs more than that. So, everything is quite humiliating. And no, he, as America's president, part of the leader of the federal national government, would not be able to pardon himself from state charges in Georgia. So it's going to be hard for him and his co-defendants to get out of this one.
It certainly is, and they are hoping that that trial is going to start in October in Georgia. We'll be certainly keeping an eye on that. Dan Raviv, live there from the U.S. Capitol. Thanks, Dan.